In this lecture, we will explore another feature of PHP called arrays. Often, we may need to work with a group or collection of data. For example, a collection of blog posts or users. So far, we've explored storing a single piece of data. What if we need to store multiple pieces of data? One solution would be to create a variable for each piece of data. Unfortunately, that's not a scalable solution. We would need to memorize the names of each variable. Ideally, we should be able to store multiple pieces of data in a single variable. That's what an array is for. Arrays can store an unlimited amount of values. Let's try creating one. Inside our PHP file, let's remove the existing code. Next, let's create a variable called food. The value for this variable will be the word array followed by a pair of parentheses. Arrays can be created with the array function. As we learned, functions are a feature for outsourcing reusable logic. We're not limited to functions defined by us. There are hundreds of functions built into the PHP language to help you perform various tasks. We don't need to do anything to expose these functions to our code. They're automatically available from the beginning. Strangely, the value of the variable is a function. We haven't discussed this feature, but functions can return values. The value returned by the function will be used as the variable's value. In our case, the array function will return an array. Therefore, the food variable will store an array, not a copy of the array function. Inside the function's arguments, we can start adding values. There are a couple of things to keep in mind. We're allowed to store as many values as we'd like. Values must be comma separated. Lastly, the data types do not need to be consistent. We can create an array of strings and numbers. However, it's common practice to store the same type of value within an array. It keeps our code consistent. Let's try adding some of our favorite food. By creating an array, we're able to store a collection of data in a single variable. The next step is to start rendering the data in our array. After creating the array, let's echo the food variable. Individual items in an array can be accessed by typing a pair of square brackets after the array. Inside the brackets, we can type a number to grab an item from an array. Behind the scenes, PHP will assign numeric indexes to each value. In the programming world, it's common for an index to start at 0. So, for example, let's say we want to grab the first item in the array. The index for this item would be 0. What about the second item? The second item would have an index of 1. The third item would have an index of 2. So on and so forth. You get the picture. Inside the square brackets, we can input the index of the item we'd like to grab. Let's grab the first item by typing 0. Before viewing the browser, let's try rendering a different item. Try this as an exercise. I want you to output a different item from the array. Pause the video and good luck. Welcome back. Let's walk through the solution together. After the first echo statement, let's add another. For this example, I will output the last item in the array. The index for this value is 2. Remember to add the number inside the square brackets. Next, let's view the browser. As expected, both values appear on the page. That's fantastic. We have the power to store a collection of values and access them individually. Let's continue our discussion of arrays in the next lecture.